Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with yours truly, Tom Alvarez. With me on the show today are Broadway cabaret concert recording stars Ann Hampton Callaway and her sister, Liz Callaway. Join me now as I go on the aisle in a conversation with Ann and Liz.
There's more to imagine when you listen, so let your imagination soar with Audible. Audible has audio titles from every genre that will inspire you to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog. Enjoy an exciting reawakening of a beloved classic with the Audible original David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, produced by Academy Award-winning director Sam Mendes, starring Ncuti Gatwa, Helena Bonham Carter, and Theo James. This adaptation breathes new life into a familiar tale. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Welcome, Ann and Liz, to On the Aisle with yours truly. What a delight it is to see. Gosh, it took so much to put this together. I just can't thank you enough.
Finally, we're all together. It's wonderful to see you, Tom.
Yes,
How
it
are
really
you
is.
two?
We're great. Yeah, we're at my house. Anne is staying with me. We're working on our brand new show, A New York State of Mind, that we're premiering Thanksgiving week at 54 Below. And then she's got gigs here. We just performed together in Philly. So it's kind of amazing that instead of doing this from my house in New York and Anne's house in Tucson, we're on different floors of my house, but we are together.
Oh, and like I said, we went back and forth about how to make this happen. So I really am grateful because logistically, I know it was a challenge. And I feel like you've given me, this is a coup. I mean, for my little podcast to have both of you together. And, I was thinking about our history together, and it goes way back, actually. And in journalism, as you know, there's a professional distance, but I don't believe in entertainment that's necessary, and in my case, it's great to be able to become friends with people that you cover. And I certainly hope you include me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, all the wonderful times we've had in Indianapolis with the Symphony Orchestra, the ISO and Jack Everly, and those wonderful, Christmas Yuletide concerts that we did, and got to spend more time with you. It was wonderful. And getting to do a master class with you, Tom, that was so much fun. I love working with the students that you assembled together for that. And yeah, we have a lot of nice memories.
Liz, you were the first Callaway I met, and I met you at the meet and greet of the cabaret in Indianapolis. You
Yes,
were one
a long
of the
time
very
ago.
first performers, and that's where we first met. But also, both of you had made multiple appearances at Feinstein's at Hotel Carmichael. And you really gave my career a shot when you gave me a shout out at the Palladium in the middle of your concert. And I can't believe after that, I kept running into people and said, wow, that was like really cool. I said, I know. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'll send you your 20% later on. Okay?
Oh, I thought the check was a little late. I was surprised.
Tom, I also want to say, though, that Anne and I really appreciate how you've been a champion of our work over the years too. So it goes both ways. So you're so supportive of artists and the recordings we've done. And so we really appreciate that as well. I seem to recall, and tell me if I'm wrong, didn't we, when Ann and I did Sibling Revelry with the ISO, and I forget what year it was. It was a long time ago.
Oh,
And
yes.
Didn't we do an interview with you in the
You know,
lobby?
we did the one that when you co-hosted Yuletide.
Oh, that was for Yuletide. Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
I remember we sat down in the lobby of the theater
That's
and
right.
we had a wonderful conversation with you. I
And
think that was the first
I
time we were
still have
together
this-
with you.
I treasured this picture for our listeners. I'm holding up
Oh,
of the three of us.
that
was
looks great.
taken.
Yeah, that's a nice shot.
I love this picture. So anyway, it's right up here. You know,
I look so thin.
like a lot of people, this is my wall of life. You know, I'm surrounded by pictures from all the stuff I've done in my career, but it's your career we're here to talk about. I don't know where to begin. So I looked at some stuff. I recall that, and by the way, I follow you guys on your social media, and I get it. I get it. I take it you both do your social media yourselves. You don't have
Yeah,
people.
no,
do you?
we don't have
Correct.
people. No.
Correct.
I mean, it's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's a full-time job.
But
Yes.
you guys well, most people hire full-time people to do social
No,
media.
I wouldn't say that's, well, maybe some people do, but I think a lot of people we do a lot of how we perform is very intimate. It's very personal. We have close
Yeah.
relationships with our fans. So the idea of farming it out to somebody else feels so impersonal.
I think
we
I
would
was
never
more-
want,
I was
we would
thinking
never want to
more-
have that disconnect.
I was thinking more of organizations, though. They have dedicated people that they hire, but individual artists, I know many people, people that you know, especially in the cabaret world,
Yeah.
you know, who take that upon themselves. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, I'm wondering, all of the markets that you've played over the years, and many of them multiple times, like Indy, for instance, do you consciously try to develop fan bases in all those cities that you can go back and you know that you're going to be welcome with bookers and people like that?
Liz and I are very dedicated to our audiences in delivering performances that are truly from our hearts to their hearts. And, interpreting songs to the utmost degree that we can and telling stories and having fun and humor and beautiful perspectives on the material we're presenting, so that I think that naturally we cultivate a strong emotional connection that is much more easy to sustain through the years, because not only do we do these shows that are so personal, but we go out into the audiences afterwards, like so many entertainers don't do, and we talk to people and we hear their stories, and we make a real strong connection that develops audiences naturally. I don't think it's so much of a let's try to have a big fan base in Indianapolis or Philadelphia or wherever we're going. It's always good to stay in touch with people and to do the kind of things that nurture, and to get people's email addresses and, people. Liz, why don't you chime in here? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's just going back to what you said about social media. I think that's what's kind of a great thing about social media is that after we perform in a city and people then connect with us on social media. And so it's not just when we're there. It's not just when we do a concert in Indy. And something that I'm learning, this past year, I started my own Substack newsletter called Between Flights. And I'm trying to get more people to subscribe to that so that they can stay in touch with me when I'm not performing in their city. And I send out songs and behind the scenes photos, and I do a little bit of writing. And I feel like it's in the way the world has changed. It's not just about the people in Chicago or the people in Indy. We can stay in touch with everyone now because
Every day. Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
So your interaction is very organic. And one of the things I wrote about you, Liz, and the same goes with you, Ann, I might have said the same thing about you. What sets you apart from a lot of entertainers is your authenticity. You are those kind of performers. What you see is what you get in person,
Right, yeah.
You don't have a facade that's, mainly, for the media and whatever that. I mean, the image,
And
the whole
thank you,
thing.
Tom. I appreciate that. And I think that it's the people who have to keep up a facade because they think that they need a new, improved version of themselves. It must be so exhausting. But if you can
Yeah.
always be yourself consistently, then you can have a fluid, natural, happy life. And
Yeah, well, having covered artists for as long as I have, I don't know what the split is, but there seem to be, you have to remember a lot of performers are actors,
right.
and now
Yes.
they have brands, and they have people, and who strategize. Nothing comes out of their mouth unless it's strategic or whatever. And I
It's,
never got
yeah.
that. I never got that from you too, and just our
Well, I
personal.
think it's also for some actors, it's hard to be themselves
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
Anne and I have been doing this for so long now. I do feel like people are used to hiding behind a character. And that's when coming from just doing theater, when I first started doing cabaret with Anne, we did
hmm
Sibling Revelry together at Rainbow and Stars. I remember saying to Anne, wait, we have to look at people. We have to actually look at faces. And I was, of course, much shyer than Anne. And I found that really hard. But now, years later, what I find very ironic is I don't like it when I can't see the audience's faces. I want to
hmm
connect with the audience. And I learned a lot from Anne about that. But I do think that is something that takes a lot of time. And I think
It
what you
also
are
takes a certain amount of courage.
absolutely.
We just did a show in Philadelphia, and our friend who was having his birthday, he just lost his husband. And to stand up in front of that audience, we didn't tell them what he had been through and how much we missed our friend who just died. But almost every song had this new level of meaning. And it was so hard to get through some of these songs because it was just, it all seemed to be connected to the loss of our dear friend. But then
And was that by any chance a music? Was he a musician by any chance?
he was a singer. Ron Dabney was his name. He was originally a
Okay.
dancer, but Ron had a beautiful singing voice, kind of like Johnny Hartman.
Okay.
And those moments in life, it takes courage to be a singer. It takes courage to be yourself and use all the emotions of whatever you're going through at that time. And if I were a less connected person, I would just try to forget about him and only just sing the songs accurately and with gusto. And no, but it was because we went there and we really faced those emotions. The show had a heightened sense of beauty, I think, and it was real, and it was something that touched many hearts. So
Well,
it's a nice way to live.
back to social media. I follow you, and over the years, I followed your story, and I love the fact that when we speak about authenticity, you're always open to share your own life. But for instance, I love it, Anne, when you talk about Carrie and you post pictures
Yeah, and
about your
it's pronounced Kari, by the
anniversary.
way.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
yeah. Her name is pronounced Kari. It's a
Kari.
Norwegian name, Kari. Yeah,
You corrected me a number of times, and I've done it again, so you'll have
that's
to
okay.
forgive me. But
Yes.
anyway, I always appreciate the fact that, you've been open with your life for a long time, and you're sort of a trailblazer in show business because of that. And as a gay man, I really appreciate that.
I've had a lot
And
of people come up to me and thank me for being open about my life,
hmm
and I used to be more mysterious about my life.
hmm
But then I realized, I always believe that we are our best when we are fully present in who we are. I always encourage people to be themselves. But then I started to think, well, am I being myself if I don't share, because I am very open in most things in my life, if I don't share that part of my life? And I'm finally with somebody who's comfortable having her life being shared too.
hmm
Previous relationships were not so open. So
It
it
sure takes a
is,
lot of the pressure off, doesn't it,
it
though?
does, yeah.
Yeah. Dealing with pronouns and all.
Right. And Liz has been Liz, when did you first realize you were straight?
Well, at first I wasn't comfortable sharing that, but now I feel
And
and you've inspired me. And I want, you know what? I can be myself too.
yeah. And Liz, I've always been touched by both of you, and you talk about your mother, Shirley, who was, a voice teacher and was such a huge influence on the two of you. And
My mom was such an amazing, brilliant woman about music, as a musician, playing the piano, as a voice teacher. And one of the most moving moments of our relationship was when she was not doing well. She was declining and she was in the hospital. And it was very hard to watch my beloved mother lose so much of her abilities. But I was working on my album called Jazz Goes to the Movies, and I would sing her. I would hold her hand and I would sing her my arrangement ideas. And some of the arrangement ideas, she was like, But then when I sang her the arrangement that I did of Blue Skies by Irving Berlin from the very first talkie called The Jazz Singer, starring Al Jolson, it starts with a verse, which I learned in your master class. One of the people in your master class sang the verse to Blue Skies. And so I thought, for forevermore, I will always sing the verse. So I told this, I think I wrote one of my best arrangements ever, and I sang it to her. And the way her eyes lit up, and it let me know that I had finally done something that was really special. And I will always be grateful to my mother's important influence and encouragement of Liz and me. It's so maybe you would like to play this song. I think it's one of Irving Berlin's greatest, called Blue Skies.
I was blue, just as blue as I could be. Every day was a cloudy day for me. Then good luck came a-knocking at my door. Skies were gray, but they're not gray anymore. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Now I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, whoa, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. I never saw the sun shining so bright, I never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my high fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies.
was absolutely exquisite. Your mother, I know that she looms large in your memory, and Liz as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. So that kind of thing, people of course feel like they know you when you're a public figure, but that's even more so. And when you went through that whole situation with Dan, your husband, when he was in that accident, and you were
Yeah, the
willing
car
to share
accident.
that. And, I do that as well, but you have to be careful about that so you don't come off being self-serving. But if you're authentic about it all, you don't have to worry about that. You're just being who you are.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's funny. I consider myself a somewhat private person on
Yes,
Facebook. I think more so than Anne, but there are times when I think it's important to share and to be or I want to share. And then there are things I don't share
sure.
on social media. But I do think that we're put on this earth. I think Anne will feel the same way, that to share our music, and our music is also who we are. And so
Mm.
they go together.
And when
And
you
it's
think
like,
about it in your so-called quote banter on stage and live performances, you're often sharing your lives. And
yes.
having seen 45 years of cabaret, a lot of people talk about their careers, or they do a mix of their careers and, anecdotes and stories. And a lot of people name drop, and it's all different. But the ones I appreciate the most are the ones where you just share your personal experience and relate it to a song that you're singing. Those are the shows that I really gravitate towards, or the artists who are able to do that seamlessly. You guys
Well,
have
yeah, that's what
opportunity.
we try to do. And we were just before talking to you, we were talking about this new show and what stories, it's going to be about our years in New York as when we were kids, when we grew up, when we moved to New York together. And it's like sometimes with putting together a show, it's, there's a song you want to sing, or, there's a story you want to share. And what song then might complement that
Yeah.
story? And that's sort of the fun of doing cabaret, is that it's a combination of the music, but also just sharing those aspects of your life with an audience, which I think, and it sounds like you really appreciate.
Both of us being lovers of the theater, we understand how musical theater is made more powerful by songs telling people's stories. And we happen to be the characters of those stories. Not that we don't sometimes play somebody else in a song, or put ourselves in someone else's shoes and imagine what that experience that we're talking about sharing musically is like. But I think we live in a very lonely world. There's more chances to connect via social media and texting and all the things that we do on our screens. But when people actually come to a concert and they come to a show and they hear these deeply personal, powerful, emotional experiences through these songs, and they feel the audience connecting with it, and there's this kind of tribal, beautiful, emotional, collective sigh at the end of a song, we're not alone anymore. We feel I call this the family that music makes. And then getting to be with our people, even the ones we haven't met yet, and then getting to sing with my sister, my true family, it just makes the experience so emotionally powerful and resonant and joyful and moving. And so I think a lot of what the arts help us to do is to connect with other people and to connect with our parts of ourselves that sometimes we put aside and
Mhm.
we don't want to face. And somebody gets up there and bravely sings about something, and we feel like, oh my God, they're telling my story. Like that beautiful song, Killing Me Softly,
Sure.
that Roberta Flack sang. We are doing that with our beloved audiences.
Does it ever occur to you when you're doing cabaret? Yeah, but see, you both too. You're those rare artists who can make people feel they're in intimate space, whether you're playing the 1,600 seat Palladium or a 100-seat theater in the cabaret,
Right. Yeah.
because of your storytelling ability. At least that's been my observation.
It's the
Uh,
same. It's the same,
It
yeah.
is.
regardless.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
what Bette Midler did. She when I saw her at the Metropolitan Opera House, it felt like I was there and she was at the baths. As a young woman who had just moved to New York, watching her do that was such a great lesson in how intimacy can be created in the most austerely highfalutin type of environment with large audience and et cetera.
This is a good place to name drop Marilyn May, our friend. She loves the both of you.
We love Marilyn.
Did you see her Carnegie Hall show by any chance?
No, I missed it.
And I know she comes to see your shows because I've seen you write about it on Facebook. What is that like?
We go to as many of her shows as possible, and she's been very loyal to both of us. Liz, what is it like for you? Yes,
she's been incredible. I missed her Carnegie Hall concert, which I felt so bad about, but then I did get to see her next birthday concert at 54 Below. She's come to, it's amazing how often she's in New York because she lives in Kansas City, but she's come to so many of my shows and she's so supportive. And I look up to her. I say, I want to be her when I grow up because she's so inspiring, and not just to watch her as an entertainer though, but to see how she champions other performers, how she, young people, teaching them all the master classes she does. She's a phenomenal human being. And I used to be like nervous when she would come to one of my shows, but then I realized, oh no, she's there just to lift me up and to cheer me on and to enjoy being an audience member. And it just means the world to me. It really does.
So you mentioned that, but also I've seen in your Facebook, it's not unusual for your colleagues to show up at your shows to support you. I love seeing that when you mention people who are in the audience,
It's inspiring, because when you see people that have inspired you to be the best that you can be and you've admired them, and suddenly it's like, well, it just makes you stand up a little straighter and put out a little bit more. It fires you up. And it's a really amazing thing to grow up and get to know so many of your heroes. I mean, we've been very fortunate, the great singers, the great songwriters. And then,
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And then sometimes getting to perform with them too.
Yeah. Are you always looking to collaborate with other artists if possible? I know because of scheduling and stuff, that's really tough. But do you run into people and say, "Hey, we should do a show together"?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we do, and I think Ann has been able to do that more than I have. And also, Ann, like with your newest album, you did duets with a number of singers. Sometimes it's easier in a recording than in doing a show, because it really is it is challenging.
The logistics don't always work out to have everybody together. But then sometimes people decide they want to produce a show about a certain composer, and they choose 3 different singers, and then before you know it, you're best friends with the singer you've never worked with before, and they say, hey, let's get together and do this or that. And yeah, it's a really wonderful thing. I worked with a lot of amazing people, and people I never thought I'd sit. I did a wonderful concert at a jazz in Washington for a jazz award ceremony, and I was sitting next to Stevie Wonder singing the finale, and I was just like, what planet am I on right now that I get to be with this man that I just worship? And so there's a lot of pinch me moments in life. And Liz, I will never forget you telling the stories. I've written songs for Barbra Streisand, but Liz got to be her sort of, what would you call your job?
I was her stand-in, not her understudy. And Tom, you know this story. And when she was during rehearsal, so I could work with the orchestra, and while they did the lighting, I could be on stage, and it was amazing. That was an amazing experience. I also feel personally, when you were talking about Ann, when you pinch yourself and you go, oh, the people you've gotten to work with, I feel that way also about the composers that I've gotten to know, and that I've
well, like Sondheim and David Shire and Richard Maltby.
Yes, Stephen Schwartz and Aronson Flaherty, and for these composers to be your friends, as well as your singing their music.
And then, of course, there are the musicians. And I know that, of course, I know about your long-term relationship, Liz, with Alex, correct?
Yes, Alex Rybeck and I have worked together for many years.
And who do you work with regularly? But do you, as I recall, sometimes you have to hire locals, don't you, when you go to certain
Well, I
places?
have my New York trio, which is Ted Rosenthal, Martin Wind, and Tim Horner. But I also, for more pop-oriented shows, I work a lot with Billy Stritch, which we
Okay,
have
of course,
great
of
chemistry
course.
together. And then when I'm in Los Angeles, I have Christian Jacob at the piano, Trey Henry, and MB
Mhm.
Gordy. And then I have John Prue, who's a wonderful singer and a pianist. And, I have Chicago musicians. I have I have Indianapolis musicians. I have people all over the country that I've connected with through the years. We have we have San Francisco musicians that we love. And
Right.
that's
I
helpful
have,
because,
yeah.
yeah.
Have
Same thing.
either of you performed with Ted Firth?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I did.
I love
And
him.
I did I've done a number of like one-off concerts with him and sometimes Michael Feinstein, but I did about a year and a half ago a playbill cruise in the Mediterranean.
Ooh,
I
and there
remember
were
jealous,
and
jealous.
there were two pianists who played for everyone. It was an amazing group of Broadway performers, and talk about getting to a hey, let's sing a duet together. Let's do that.
Yeah.
That was an opportunity for that. But Ted played for me. And so we got to do a bunch of shows together, and he's
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah.
He was a guest on this podcast with Michael Feinstein. They were, they weren't together. They were separate, but in the same hour. And I found the secret to being a podcast host is to invite music directors because many of them have played with God, everybody in this.
That's true, yeah.
In their stories. I mean, go on and on and on. And
You should have Alex on. Actually, you
well,
should. Alex
And Billy
Alex
Stritch too.
Oh,
There's an artist who really needs some help with her career. She's struggling, but I think if you had her on her Taylor Swift, I think you could really build up her career. Like she's getting
gonna be
close
in
to
it.
being more recognized.
Going to be in Indianapolis. So if
20th
you
floor
got
has.
contact to Taylor, hey, I'm
Okay.
on. Yeah.
By the way, I really admire her. I don't know all her music, but I admire her very much as a businesswoman. And I read an interview, which I thought was so fascinating. She said she was getting ready for a tour. And what she did is every day she would sing through her entire program while she was on a treadmill. And so, no, but to get her
I
stamina.
know
heard
that's incredible.
I
and
heard that too.
and then for the up-tempo song, she would go really fast and then it would be slower and whatever. But that's how she was able to do these massive 2.5-hour concerts with all the dancing and all the singing. And I think I understand as you know, Tom, I love to practice singing while I'm in movement, like when
Are
I'm
you
driving.
are you still doing those videos that you started during COVID?
I post the occasional video of singing in my car. I still sing in my car all the time. My mount broke to my phone, but I still practice in my car, or I like to practice when I'm walking. But I don't go to the extent of being on a treadmill, but it's actually, I told Ann about this. I went, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
because
if you can do that, then you can do anything.
right. It's like because to do what we do and all the travel takes so much endurance. And that is something that is a challenge for us.
We
as
were
get
rehearsing,
older.
Tom. We were rehearsing together. Liz came to Tucson, where I now live, and we took some long walks in the beautiful Catalina foothills, and we were rehearsing Corner of the Sky.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the
Oh,
beautiful
God, I
mountains
love
and the
that
huge
song.
sky. So now whenever we sing that
from
song,
Pippin?
Liz,
Yeah.
that's from Pippin, yeah.
Oh, I
And we
love
do
that
this beautiful arrangement that's very personal. And now those beautiful mountains, as we sing that song, wherever we're singing it, that's still a part of the song for me. And that was really fun to rehearse that way, taking a long walk in a beautiful area. And
It helps. I think it helps
does.
to have movement while you're singing and while you're learning something as well.
Do you guys know any other sisters like the two of you?
Well, we know Liza and Lorna,
in show business.
but they don't perform together like we do. You know,
But that's what, is there anybody else in the show business universe that you're aware of that mirrors what you two do? Like,
not
you've done
really.
these albums, you're doing these shows. I mean,
Mm.
I have 7 siblings, and
Wow.
when we get
Really?
together, we really do have sibling rivalry. I'm like a 10-year-old again when I'm around those guys. I have a bunch
Oh,
of
wow.
brothers. It drives me
Yeah.
crazy. I can only, they have
That's
no
a lot of
clue
testosterone. Yeah.
they have no clue about what I do, by the way, and
Really?
they don't seem to
Really?
be interested either. I don't know. It's sibling revelry. It really is. I got a kick out of your album because anyway. But back to I want to talk to you about your upcoming show. I'm so excited for you because sibling rivalry. I still play it a lot, all the time, and also Boom. There's a Boom.
Boom. Yes.
Yes,
That's our
Boom.
celebration of the songs of the 60s
What
and
was the
70s.
last 2? You haven't done any since then?
Oh, we have the show that we've been doing, and our show is called Sibling Revelry, not
Okay,
Rivalry.
I'm sorry.
So that's no. Everyone always does that. But the last show we've done several shows together.
On
the last couple of
recordings,
years
I made recording.
No, and we have not recorded Broadway the Callaway, although that would be a fun one to record.
Yeah, I was thinking when we were doing it this weekend that it would have been that we should go in the studio or just do a sort of a best of the Callaway sisters and do all the songs we haven't recorded yet because there's so many beautiful duets that we would love to share with the world.
It was in 1995 and Boom at 2011. So.
Right, and that's those are the only 2 albums that we've done together. We've both done duets on each other's solo albums, but we've done a number of shows like this one coming up at Thanksgiving. New York State of Mind. What's really great is when we do a show at 54 Below. We try to do the last few years. We've been trying to do something over the holidays together so that we can be together. So last year we did a Christmas show called Yuletide Revelry, and we got to be together for Christmas in New York.
And that won an award.
Yes, that won an award. And what's nice about this too is we live stream our final performance. So we're we're live streaming on November 30th
at 7 p.m. ET.
Yeah. And so that's something that is a good thing that's come out of the pandemic is now all the venues that became equipped to live stream.
That's right.
And you would think that people were like, and people still want to be, there's nothing like being in person. There's nothing that will ever replace that. But for people around the country, our friends in Indy and our friends in all the different people
in
are
London.
So thrilled that they can live stream our shows.
I just want to say 54 Below does spectacular live streams where you feel like you are in the room.
Yeah.
If you're able to pair your device with your TV, it's like incredible. I mean, I can't believe how good they are at making it feel like you're in the moment. Yeah.
Along those lines, streaming, during COVID, I interviewed people, and for instance, Jim Caruso and Billy Stritch talked about when they did a version of Birdland, a streaming show. What more, Jim Caruso, Billy was doing his own thing, but they said that their fan base became international because people were sitting at home all over the world.
Yeah.
And they made all new fans,
Isn't that wonderful?
Streaming.
A perfect example of that.
Did that happen to you during COVID from your concerts and your shows in your living rooms?
Also, I think something that Ann and I did some together, and I did a huge, huge thing during the pandemic was Stars in the House that Seth Rudetsky and James Wesley started as a nightly program. And there were people we saw in Philly this weekend. It's like, oh, we loved you when you did Christmas Eve on Stars in the House.
And we had matching nightgowns.
Yeah. And so many people said, oh, you got me through the pandemic. With the various things we did, either you and your live stream series, when I would do my auto tunes, car videos, that I do feel that when we were all stuck at home and we were all experiencing this together, that really did connect
And
All of us.
you both remain very creative. And Anne, didn't you do a lot of songwriting?
I did. I wrote probably about 60 commissioned songs. That was part of what I decided to do during that time. And so I offered to write a song and interview people and then make a video of the song and give them their sheet music.
Wow.
And I had the audio recording. Some people paid extra for me to record it in the studio. And, people like Len Curio and his wife, Heather, I did a beautiful anniversary song for them. And I also got to work on my new CD that it debuted #1 on iTunes Jazz, Finding Beauty Originals Volume 1. And so I released several singles during the pandemic, and then the album finally came out. And one of my favorite moments on the album was actually the duet that I did with Liz called Wherever You Are.
Where are you? Where are you? Wherever you are, I hope you can hear me. We never had the chance to say goodbye. We never said goodbye. Wherever you are, I hope you can feel me. I hope you can feel how much I love you. I always will. And I'm wishing you peace, peace in your soul. Are there arms there to carry you home? I wish you peace, peace in your soul. Wherever you are, wherever you roam. If somehow you need me, I'll open up my heart for you to find me. Wherever you are, the pain of losing you will carve out a place that's in my heart forever. The time cannot erase. wherever you are. Where are you? Where are you?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was so nice to be able to do that song together. And
I have a connection with both of you as well, and we've spoken about it before. And, I would like for you to share with our audience about your father and what influence he had on you, and also talk about the show that he hosted. And by the way, my friend Phil Ponce just retired after, I don't know, 25, 30 years of hosting that show. And I know you know Phil, so you want to give him a shout
yes.
out?
Yeah, actually, the last time I did my dad's show was after he had passed, and Phil interviewed me, and I think I was with Ramsey Lewis, and that was a wonderful experience. And then Liz was on the show with Phil and Nicholas, her son, who has a gorgeous singing voice, and they just got a Grammy nomination for her beautiful Sondheim album. But our dad was a huge supporter of our talent. He was a great jazz lover, and that's why I'm a pop jazz singer, because of the great singers that he played in my childhood. Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, etc. And he would scat sing around the house. But our dad was an amazing interviewer, and he did a lot of homework, more homework than most people. And he taught us both the discipline of preparing, of doing your homework, of researching what you're doing, the singers, the songwriters, the meaning of the lyrics. And he was somebody that I respected so much. I wish he were alive today in the world of the news as we see it. But thanks to my dad, I think Liz and I are both better people.
You both know Tony Dessert, right?
Yes, of
Sure,
course,
we
yeah.
love Tony.
Well, Tony, as you know, he has his own recording studio and he outfits it.
I recorded it at his recording studio a few times when he lived in New York, yeah.
Yeah, so there were quite a few people who they opened a whole new arena for the business during COVID.
Yeah. And during the pandemic, I recorded an album right in smack in the middle of the pandemic, which I didn't expect to do. It was a Christmas album called Comfort and Joy,
That's
an acoustic
right.
Christmas. I thought I'd like to record a single during the pandemic. And there was a very well-known guitarist who I'd never met, who lived a few blocks from me and who played for Carly Simon for years.
Oh, you told me
And I
this,
got in
yeah.
touch with him and I said, I'm interested in maybe we could, he had a recording studio in his house. Maybe we could record a single together. I was dying to do something creative. And I asked for suggestions on Facebook of songs, and we got together and just sang through a bunch of songs. And I came home that night and I said to Dan, I wish I could do a whole album. I want to do an album of this.
And didn't I tell you why not? Why don't you just do it?
Yes, but we did it in 3 weeks. And we made this beautiful Christmas album. And on this album, I sang Ann's beautiful song, God Bless My Family.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as a song that Alex Rybeck wrote, as well as a lot of other beautiful Christmas songs. But that was and I've had people come up to me and go, that's my favorite Christmas album I've ever heard. And it was of that time,
Yeah. And thank you for recording God Bless My Family. I love the way you do that.
Thank you.
It's Christmas time. Outside the snow is falling like a million stars, like a million dreams all dressed up in white. I'm writing Christmas cards, a joy that's tinged with sadness as I think of friends. Some are here and some are gone, but our love goes on like the snow tonight. And oh, what a family the reaches of the sky we touch eternally. And though my heart aches every day, this Christmas I will find a way to let each face I've ever loved shine out in me. God bless my family. As years go by, the carols we sang as children gather memories. What was just a song now feels like a prayer, welcoming us home to fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers everywhere. Some we've lost and some we found, as love circles us around in the songs we share. And oh, what a family my life has given me. From the corners of the earth to the reaches of the sky, we touch eternally. And though my heart aches every day, this Christmas I will find a way to let each face I've ever loved shine out in me. God bless my family. So fly, angels of my heart, we'll never be apart. Tonight I say a prayer for loved ones everywhere. You're a part of my family that life has given me. From the corners of the earth to the reaches of the sky, we touch eternally. And though my heart aches every day, this Christmas I will find a way to let each face I've ever loved shine out in me. God bless my family. You'll always live in me. God bless my family.
So, Ann, I wanted to ask you, jumping around here, I remember all the great improvs that you did in various appearances here in Indy. Are you still getting that sort of a given that you do that every time you perform?
Not every time, but I know that if I have a theme show, sometimes an improv doesn't quite fit in. My Peggy Lee show doesn't really call for an improv
Right.
because it's such a detailed story show and everything leads to the pinnacle of the final moment. But in many of my shows, I still do improvs, and it's just so much fun and so hilarious. And I will never forget being a host. The first time I hosted Yuletide, 28 performances where I did an improv every single night, and I got many of the same words every single night.
Really?
But all of the songs, all 28 songs were different. And that was when I knew, okay, I really do know how to do this. If I can do that.
Did you ever?
You're amazing.
Did you ever go blank? Did you ever
Never.
up there and say, "Oh my God,
No.
I can't do this"?
No, I read Bob Dylan's free association novel called Tarantula when I was 12 years old.
Oh
I
my.
couldn't believe he could write a novel in like a month. And I thought, well, I want to start writing, the first thing that comes to mind, some of them, sometimes we call them storm pages, or you just improv for 3 pages. And I started to really get extremely comfortable with my imagination and my rhyming skills and it just became second nature to me. And so I never want to let that part of my musical mischief making go away, because it's just such a delight. And I've written some of my favorite songs just in a moment without thinking about any of them. Start to finish, all done. The song was that.
Did you
Like Wherever You Are. That's that. I wrote that in one sitting.
did you ever work with Marvin Hamlish?
I did work with Marmot
You
Hamlish,
know
not
that
as much as Liz, but yeah,
you know
he
that
did
he
improvs too.
Yes,
Yes.
he did one with the ISO and he did one at the Palladium. I'll never forget that. I'll say, Ann does that. Have they ever
You
like
know, and
collaborated?
Carnegie Hall, I asked him, I said, we both like to do improv. Wouldn't it be great if we did an improv tonight? And he was just not, I don't think he'd ever seen me do it. So he bowed out of that idea. It's a shame, because we would have had so much fun.
I wanted to ask you, what is the state of the cabaret art form in the United States right now? I know that's a pretty big question, but what are your thoughts?
Well,
Well, for instance, I'm going to give you something to think about. The cabaret here, apparently there are a lot of other venues that have failed, but many new ones are taking the not-for-profit model because the cabaret has been so successful with it here. Not-for-profit dollars support donors, supporters, or sponsors make it possible for them, to bring in, primarily they're bringing in people who would either want a Tony, but people want in that particular venue now, they want Broadway performers. So they're doing really, really well because of that. They found a hook. But my question is that are you finding that cabaret, there's a renaissance, or is it about the same, or is it in danger?
I think I would say it's about the same, and I might be wrong. It feels it's about the same, except there is a danger of venues closing. There's
Yeah,
always and that's why the not-for-profit model is, I think, a really great idea. 54 Below changed. They are now a not-for-profit,
I didn't know that.
and they
Yeah.
are able to offer some subsidized tickets to people who can't afford it. It's actually fantastic, because I feel like the most important thing is if you can just get people in the room and they can see a really good cabaret performance, then they are going to be hooked. But they have to know about it,
Right.
And there's some cities, I mean, it's fantastic. Indy is actually a great place for cabaret. Los Angeles has a shockingly few number of places to do cabaret. And there's so many
They have
incredibly
music
talented people
rooms.
there.
They have music rooms that occasionally will have a cabaret act, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the same. And so I think it's just, I think we just have to keep getting the word out,
Mhm.
because people, once they see it, then they really appreciate it.
I just want to say that I was in sort of the early years. I started my career doing cabaret, and Don Smith was, to me, one of the most important people to really champion cabaret, to put on the cabaret convention. He was the person who created the cabaret convention, the Manhattan Association of Cabarets and Clubs, and awarded people for excellence, and had people from all over the country and the world come for a week to get to know these artists who aren't superstars necessarily. Some of them are Broadway stars, some of them have been on television, but some of them are just superb singers who know how to put an act together. And I feel like there's been a real renaissance of talent. There's so many people, many actors who
Yes.
used to be shy, they now are putting together great cabaret acts. And I think it's a more respected art form in London. It's taken a long time for London people to really understand how wonderful a cabaret act can be. And now people don't want to miss any of the Americans that come across the pond to do shows there. And it's lovely to see the burgeoning admiration for the art form. So I think Like any beautiful thing, like any relationship, it's something that has so much beauty in it, but you never can take it for granted because it's hard to keep the business going easily. It's good to be open to new business models, but there is certainly a wonderful abundance of surprisingly amazing talent of many different musical styles that have learned how to perform intimately for audiences and create like a mini musical in a 75, 90-minute hour night. And I think it's a beautiful part of America that what
And
we've given to the world.
Anne and I are actually next year we're doing a cabaret cruise. Cabaret Stars at Sea, and it's going to be Anne and me and our dear friend Jason Gra, brilliant
Oh,
singer and
wow.
comedian,
Hilarious, yes.
and Alex Rybeck, who
my
plays
goodness.
for all of us. And so it's like an opportunity for people who love cabaret to have
Is
a
it,
week.
is it that 7-story ship? You're doing the
No, I
new
don't
one?
think
I mean,
so.
is it
I
like-
don't.
No, not that one. But it's going to be fun because the people who come on, they'll get to sing. There'll be all kinds of very
Yeah.
entertaining, fun
Right.
activities for them. And yeah, we're
and
very
then see a
excited about
different
that.
show. Yeah, see our solo shows and our duo shows, and I do a show with Jason, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So
And
you'll
I think
keep
you
it-
are right about though all the new exciting people who are doing cabaret.
So
And yeah.
people can find you both. You both have websites. You both have social
right.
media accounts. You're on everything. So you'll keep us all posted about all this, right?
Yes,
Yes, we will.
absolutely.
I wanted to mention the cabaret thing, and thank you for what you had to say about Indianapolis and audiences here. One of the missions of this podcast, and I've thought carefully about, what my mission is, and it's to promote, arts and artists local, but also people like yourselves. There have been a lot of big names who've come through Indy, and I don't have to go to New York. They all come here, or
Isn't that
I've
nice?
made all these wonderful contacts, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the list is amazing. I'm hoping that if you've looked at my roster, it's pretty
You have a
impressive.
beautiful
It's good.
roster. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic.
But having you on truly is a coup, and I can't tell you how grateful I am. But there are a couple of Indianapolis connections that you both have that I would like to mention. The story is that Amanda King loves you, and she's
And
the
we love
jazz
her.
singer who does the Sarah Vaughan? No, Ella Fitzgerald. And you
Yes,
guys,
Ella.
you
Early
guys-
Ella. Yes. Yeah.
you did
I know her
you
very
did-
well. I've sung with her and yeah.
Well, her mother was a trained opera singer.
Yeah, she
once,
came to my show and she looks like
at the
Leontine Price.
Palladium.
Very glamorous. Yeah. Very beautiful woman.
Yeah. That speaks to just how supportive you are of young artists, And I know that Amanda, I've known her since she was a little kid, and she's just was really thrilled that you took the time to nurture her and that sort of thing. So I wanted
Well,
to
she's a
give
very
her a
special
shout
human
out.
being. Yeah, no, I love Amanda. She's so
Yeah.
talented and so warm and sweet and so appreciative of other artists too. So yeah, I'm so proud of her.
Liz, I know that you are also love to do master classes and that sort of thing. So I hope that you'll come and do one for us sometime.
I would love to. Last summer, I went to Michael Feinstein's Songbook
Academy.
Yes. I literally flew in late the night before and left the next day after I did my master class. It was probably the shortest visit I've ever had to Indy.
That's
I was-
right.
I was so encouraged by the such wonderful singers and what a wonderful program. There is so much there really is so much happening
Yeah.
in
Well, I don't think people realize here, there's still a lot of people who do not realize what Michael Feinstein has brought to this central Indiana, or if not Indiana. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Great
it's
American
incredible.
Songbook is alive and well, right? Right.
And
there, yeah.
you may or may not know that they've chosen a site for the Hall of Fame, for the building, standalone building to house the Great American Songbook Hall of Fame. They've partnered with the
Isn't that in
Grammy.
Carmel? Is that
Yeah,
in Carmel?
right across
Yeah.
the street from the Palladium.
I've been there. I've seen the files. It's very impressive. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about the new building. They've been
Oh.
collecting artifacts, but they now have a building that's going to break ground soon. So
Oh,
it'll be like the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It'll be a
that's wonderful.
destination.
How
I
fabulous. I
know.
didn't know that.
Well,
That's
Michael is an
fabulous.
amazing champion. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Michael Feinstein and I know that you both have long histories with him, so I
Yes.
wanted to mention that as well.
And
And
Tom,
then
Tom, I just want to say something. Something has occurred to me as we're talking about this. And Indy, it has been so long since Ann and I have performed in Indy together. And I'm putting it out there in the universe. We
Yes.
that's
should
why I
come
want you
back,
to be on this
the two of
podcast. I
us.
want you to come
I would
back
love
and
that.
do,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want you to do another
Whether it's a
Yuletide.
concert with us alone or Yuletide would be
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Well,
love
if I can
Tide.
find the sponsors, I want you to come back and do a fundraiser for us or
That
a
would be
master
great.
Love it.
shared master class.
We
Sounds
would
wonderful.
love
Wouldn't
it.
Yeah,
that
we
be
enjoy doing
something?
that together. Yes. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? So will you do it if I can make it happen?
Yes.
Well, there you
That
go.
was a very fast yes.
Let us think about it. Yes.
Yes.
No, I'll write you offline. So, hey, one last thing. What advice do you give to young people who want to pursue a career in the entertainment business?
Well, I tell people that if you feel called to sing and to perform, then honor that calling by, in many ways, work hard at your musical development. Study with great teachers. Listen to great singers. Listen to great artists. Get together with your friends and work together and collaborate together and find your support system, the people that will believe in you. There's some people who will give you these negative messages like, oh, you need to have something to back up on. Why would you ever go into music? The people who are the naysayers in your life, don't let them stop you from really pursuing your dreams. When I started out in the business, I said yes to just about every job. Could you do this? Yes. Could you sing here? Yes. This doesn't pay anything, but will you do this? Yes. I wanted to learn as much. I wanted to work with the best people I could. And because of that, so many doors opened and so many friendships were formed. And I grew so much. And then when Liz and I teamed up together, we grew together so much. And, then Liz got to be on Broadway and I got to be on Broadway. And there's just so many doors that open, but don't give up. Be disciplined, but also don't be a narcissist. Try to remember that music is a way of being a vessel of love. It's a part of serving the world with something beautiful and something human and something inspiring. And it's not just about you and are you good, but it's about connecting with your fellow human beings and bringing something very special in the world. So Liz, you always have that great thing before we do a show of nothing to prove, only to share.
Yeah,
Having
that's
that
my
kind of
that's my
attitude.
mantra.
Love that mantra.
And I think everything Ann said is true, and I absolutely agree with all of that. And I will add one thing that I say to young people when I'm working with them, and I feel often when you're young, you try to sound like the people you admire. You listen to people like, I want to be like this person. And I think the key is to be yourself and to celebrate what makes you different from other people. And it's being authentic and honest. And I think that is something that you usually learn as you get older. But if you can have the confidence that no one is ever going to sing a song the way you do.
Right.
And no one's going to have the same story as you. And that's a good thing.
And how about kindness? Does that go a long way?
Oh yes,
of
it's being be a citizen of the world, be a good human being. Be a good person. When you go into an audition, the person who has the clipboard or your names or the rehearsal, the pianist playing for you. Stephen Flaherty, who wrote Anastasia and Ragtime, and so many Broadway composers started out as audition pianists. Mark Shaman played my audition for Gallery. He played Be a Lion for me in one of my first auditions in New York. But be kind to everyone and just be a good human being.
I also want to say another thing that I find interesting about life is that each of us has many different talents, and if you will be a happier person if you learn how to use them all, like study acting, study singing, maybe learn an instrument. Have you ever wanted to be a songwriter? I do. I've just started a songwriting class for people who don't know they're songwriters. It's amazing how brilliant people are. And if you can do a show that shows, let's say you're a painter, maybe you paint your backdrop or you paint your flyer, but put everything in that makes you, what Liz said, uniquely you. And the more of that richness of your life experience and the gifts that you've been given that you can share with people, and also your friendships with people who have their wonderful gifts, and to shine lights on each other and help lift each other up at the same time, by putting a singing group together or working with musicians that you love and you have a dream and you dream it together, then the power of that magnitude of what you're sharing and who you're sharing it with will have a heightened level of excitement for people.
Well, words to live by. Thank you so much. I know your time's valuable. I know you have a lot of work to do on that New York show. So I'm going to let you get to it. So
well, thank you so much,
again.
Tom.
You two, you should know indirectly, living here in Indianapolis, it's people like you who've helped me in my career as a writer and a journalist. You've given me something to write about.
Thank you, Tom.
And you're a wonderful writer.
Yes.
And you ask good questions.
I look forward to your emails.
I hope to see you at one of our local venues, and I predict it's going to happen sooner. The sooner the better, right?
Love
From
it.
your lips to God's ears.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Take care.
Thank you.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official neighborhood newsletter for 16 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.